is the whole purpose of this video is for me to practice looking in the right place. So I literally have a picture of a person right here, and I'm still not looking at it. Okay, I'm gonna look there. Every time I have this, I have like this idea that like, oh, maybe I should, like I have this thought, and then I think, oh, maybe I should share that. Maybe I should, it's because it's not fully formed yet. And I think maybe I should explore that. And I mean that on camera, I should explore that thought. And then I think, no, I don't. Every time I'm like, no, maybe we shouldn't go there. Like, it's bringing up fear of judgment in me because of where I came from. Like, I know that who I was in the past would be judging me very harshly right now. So it's bringing up feelings of judgment from my previous self that I would have cast upon this self. I'm not really sure what to do with that, because I mean, obviously I haven't truly like let those go, or that wouldn't be coming up, I would think. Like, I have such a loose grasp on my spirituality. The more time I spend thinking about this, and the more open I am to exploring the different possibilities that might explain experiences that I'm having in the present, the more open I am to believing in, I'm not really sure what it's called, but like different timelines, like the idea that everything is happening now, like the past is happening now and the future is happening now, and we're just moving through the frame. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I keep having these flashes where I'm seeing my life right now. Shit, I do not know how to explain this. It's almost like I'm watching some of these videos when I'm editing them, and I'm seeing them as if I were someone halfway across the world looking at this. Like, I'm zoomed so far out that it almost feels like a movie. Like, but back to the timeline thing, it feels like I'm shifting back and forth between now and in the future, and in that future, this viewing of these videos is in the past. So the future that I'm like, shit, like I keep getting glimpses of what feel like a future that is beyond somebody else watching this. And that is so confusing of an experience. It's almost like, it's almost like I'm watching this back as if it were a documentation of someone else's life, like in the past. Like 50 years from now, somebody might be viewing this as a historical document. Does that make sense? That's so weird. That is so weird. It's such a weird feeling. And because I see myself as being so much smaller than that, it feels unreal. But perhaps as I grow, perhaps I will grow into that person that will fill that role. And perhaps that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing I'm seeing the person that I will become, or I'm seeing myself now from the perspective of the person that I will become. I am having very, very weird, like, I don't, what am I supposed to do with that? Like, I don't even know why. Why am I seeing that? What's the purpose in that? Maybe, is that some sort of weird encouragement, or am I just like delusional? I'm practicing watching. I'm not really like bothered by it necessarily. Like, I'm not like upset about it. I'm not stressed out about it. It's just, at this point, this has happened enough for it to be noteworthy in my mind that maybe I should document it, even if it's just for myself. What do we have? Every time. Okay. Okay. This is what I apparently am supposed to talk about this. I think this was like 3 times in a row. That's what happens. That's what happens when I ignore stuff. Fold between worlds. I don't remember the name of this deck. Maybe I'll put it in the description. It says transition, threshold, unseen shift. Your life unfolds at the seam where 2 worlds quietly meet. The last time I pulled this card, which was yesterday, I was thinking about that. Your life unfolds at the seam where 2 worlds quietly meet. And this actually like ties in very much to the idea of time existing as a now and an always, because my life is happening. My life only happens now. It doesn't happen in the past or in the future, but that doesn't mean that those things don't exist. I feel like I'm supposed to get somewhere. Like, this is supposed to go somewhere, and I'm not sure. I'm not seeing it at this moment. Let me show you this one more time. This really is an interesting deck. I really like it. This is what the back looks like. You know, that kind of reminds me of, was it Harry Potter? I think this happened in more than just Harry Potter. But like, they open the book and then like the light comes out and then like they fall into the story. That actually reminds me of something I was thinking about earlier. About how the world is a stage and we're actors in it, and we are all playing a part in that movie. And it's like, what part are you playing? Are you playing a businessman? Are you playing just an extra in your own life? Because for each one of us, we all have a different movie that we're in. And we're all playing the main character. We're all the protagonist. But we don't all step up into that role. But we do, though. We do decide what movie our life is. I definitely was in a movie playing the part of a victim unwittingly for a lot of my life. I was playing the part of somebody who gave up. Playing the part of somebody who continued to make the same choices and kept being crushed by the same outcome until I decided that I didn't want to be in that movie anymore. I'm not even sure how we got onto this, but I feel like I should talk about my addiction. When I decided to stop drinking, I knew that I needed help, but that I didn't want the help of anyone. And I wanted the universe to help me in the kindest way possible because I was scared of what would happen, you know, like if I didn't stop drinking. Like I was afraid of that tower moment because I wasn't able to bring the tower on myself. And like for those of you who are not familiar with tarot, I was afraid that the world was going to interfere and cause me to confront that problem because I hadn't gone out of my, like I hadn't actually taken control of my life and addressed that problem on my own, which is often how people end up in jail or, you know, having accidents, whatever. So I was afraid of that. And what ended up happening was I had planned on quitting drinking at the beginning of the year, not this year, but and the closer I got, the more nervous I got. But right before the beginning of the year, I ended up getting the stomach flu. So I quit drinking a week early with the help of the universe getting me sick. And I was so grateful for that. As soon as I started feeling better after having the flu, I just, how I was able to quit drinking and stay sober was, I now have a different perspective of that. Like I intentionally shifted timelines, and I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I traded in my script. I became a character in a different movie. Every day I woke up and I told myself, yeah, that was part of my life, but that's not my life anymore. And every time I would have like the idea, like, oh, you know, I want to, you know, engage in that destructive behavior, I would just say, yes, I remember doing, like, I remember when that was part of my life, but that's not part of my life anymore. And so I put myself in a different timeline where I was no longer that person who was struggling. I don't even know how to explain it. I was in therapy at the time too, and my therapist she could not understand how I was able to do that without any support. With all of the experiences that I've been having over the last year, because I've been sober for about a year and a half now only. But it feels like a lifetime ago. To be honest, it feels like forever ago. And I haven't been tempted at all to go back to that life. But because of all of these experiences that I've had over the last year or so, and with everything that's happening right now within our society, and how much clearer it's becoming, all of the manipulation. I mean, like how clear all that manipulation is in keeping everyone down and keeping everyone sick and keeping everyone dependent. I just have to wonder if that was the lie, that if that was a lie I believed. Is walking away from addiction hard? Or is that just something that we're told so that we choose to stay stuck in it? Because for me, that was what was true. It was the easiest thing in the world once I did it. It was so easy. Once I decided that it was going to be easy, and that struggle and that lifelong struggle of needing AA and everything. I'm not just trying to discourage anybody from doing what works for them, but I knew that wasn't going to work for me. And once I decided that was not going to be my life, and that it was going to be over when I decided it was going to be over, That's what my reality became. But in me giving up my addiction and literally just setting it down and walking away from it, that was further proof, at least for me, that the idea that our perception is our reality is a truth. And it does fall in line with the concept that time is infinite and all time is happening at the same time. Like the past and the future are both happening now, just in a different time. I have no... Why? Why is this so important? This is weird. It's not important. I'm talking to this picture. I have no idea if I've been looking in the right place. Let's go again. That was interesting. Well, wait, let me see. Then maybe there's more. All right, let's go back to this. This transition, threshold, unseen shift. Your life unfolds at the seam where two worlds quietly meet. Our society's definitely in this in-between space, the fold between worlds. We're shifting from this space of shadow where everyone is constantly reacting and taking action based on fear. And we're shifting into a more conscious society. And that's a pretty rocky transition. There's going to be a lot of people who fight that because they don't think they're strong enough to deal with it. There's one of the groups of people who are going to fight that. Another group of people are the people that it's serving the most. The people at the top are going to fight that. And then there's another group of people who I think is going to be quite a large group of people, actually. It's going to be the people in our society who falsely believe that this society, that the way the world is right now is working for them. It's going to be the bosses who are making more money than the lower level employees because they are thinking that they're doing well in this world because they're not focused. They're focused on what's below them and they're afraid to go down there. But what they're not paying attention to is what's above them. They're not paying attention to all the potential that they are ignoring. And by staying on this ladder, this like stuck place of this junk that we're on right now, they're not understanding that there's a ceiling above them. They only think that they're doing well. They only think they're doing well because their perception is that they're doing better than somebody else here. And that is 100% a lack mindset. Thinking that in order to have value in their lives, somebody else has to be lacking value. There is no scarcity of value. That's a lie. There's no scarcity of value. It's funny because I spent a lot of years like being someone who could have stepped up into a position of leadership in the workforce and choosing not to. I never had any interest in that for several reasons. But in thinking about my position as an entry-level employee in comparison to someone higher up than me, I was the freer one. I was the one who had more freedom. I was always the one who said, no, I don't want to work this many hours. when they couldn't do that. I was the one who said, no, I don't want to give this much of my life away, when they felt like they couldn't do that. I was the one who was able to walk away because it meant less. I lost less when I walked away from that. I had less invested in that. And because of the way that I live my life as a minimalist, cooking most of my own food, not giving one thought to getting a new car or a new purse. My financial needs were so minimal in comparison to someone used to making a decent living, or what we consider to be a decent living, so that they can keep up the payments on their new car and so they can keep going out for coffee every morning. To me, it always just felt like a trap. And when I would decide to spend some of my hard-earned money, I would ask myself, how many hours of my life is this thing worth? Because that's what I'm trading. That's what I'm trading for this purse, is 50 hours of my life, or whatever it is. How much of your life is it worth? And none of it was worth. Most things weren't worth anything to me. I didn't care about those things. I want to be fully transparent about that. I don't think that my feelings about that are special. I think that my feelings about not caring about materialistic things were born from growing up in an environment where I didn't feel safe. And if you know, there's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and it basically is a priority, a focus in a person's life. And you can't focus on, it's basically pointing out the fact that you can't focus on chasing your dream vacation if you don't have enough food for dinner. You're going to be paying attention to, making sure you have something to eat. And you're not going to be worried about going on a date with someone if you're being chased by a lion. So if you're in physical danger, all of those other things don't matter. So I grew up with my nervous system stuck in this, fight or flight, and feeling like I had to prioritize my safety above everything else. I was way too stuck to be able to focus on any of those external things. So I don't think that my disinterest in all of these material things makes me special. I think that happens to a lot of us who struggle to feel safe in the world, is because we're too busy trying to protect ourselves to be bothered with any of that other stuff. I mean, some people, they go the other way. I mean, some people just try to avoid all of that and focus on all of these material things so that they don't have to face the feelings that they're feeling. What I was saying is, I saw my position in the workforce backwards from how most people see it. I walked into work feeling like I was the one who had the most power, because I had the most power to walk away. And I think that's something that they don't want you to see that. Watching managers interact with higher up managers, and knowing that they're probably nervous, and it just felt like I was looking at somebody who had to be a bigger circus monkey than me. That's a hard truth, I think, for a lot of people, and they're not going to want to face that. They're not going to want to face the fact that they worked harder than everybody else to get into that position. So they're going to fight harder to keep that position. The thing to do, though, is not to fight that. It's not to fight that. It's to allow it is important that we allow people to choose for themselves what they want for their lives. In my life, the only way that I have personally ever been able to affect change is to lead by example. And the people who've chosen to follow me were the only ones I was ever able to sway. It was their choice. No amount of talking, no amount of convincing. This image here, I'm getting like this visual of like a family photo being ripped down the middle. With everything that's happening right now, it's likely causing a divide in a lot of people's families. Both I think on more than one level. One, I think just on the surface of everything that's going on, some people wanting to talk about what's going on, to address it, and then other people not wanting to acknowledge it. So there's that, but there's also this deeper thing that's happening, this spiritual evolution that is happening. It is happening. It for sure is happening. There's like all these different dimensions, all these different facets of life that are experiencing that rip, that tearing of the photograph. I really hope that I've done a better job looking in the right direction in this video. Did I do it right? Did I get this card right? Can I get a different card the next time, please? It doesn't seem logical to expect somebody to just keep growing and growing and growing at like this fast pace, you know? Like, I mean, and you know, maybe I don't have to, that's fine. But I would like to, like, if I do end up using this and sharing this, which I really think is going to happen, because it's terrifying. And the one thing I can't stand the thought of being in this world is a coward, because I think that those people, all of those people who choose to hurt other people are doing that because they're cowards, and I can't become the thing. I can't become that. I don't want to become that. I want to be the opposite of that. But I just thought, you know, if I don't have an idea of what to talk about, or if there's not something that I want to talk about or reflect upon, that I would use my cards. And the fact that I find it intimidating to share this part of my life with anyone just tells me that I should go there, that I should do that, because I don't want to live my life in fear. It's not like my life is in danger kind of fear. It's a fear I don't want to carry around. I don't want to pretend to not be this person anymore, because I've been this person for years. I have used cards as a tool of self-reflection. Like, I'm not going to give over the decisions of my life to a deck of playing cards. But there's so much symbolism in them, and there's so much meaning, there's potential in them. And when you look at one and you get one, you can reflect upon its meaning, and you can ask yourself, what area of my life is like this? And it'll bring something up for you to look at. And it's up to you to decide how you feel about these cards. It's up to you to decide what they mean. If you get something that doesn't make you feel anything, then that's fine too. I don't know why I'm going off about this. Oh, I just pulled this. This is the listening veil. Intuition, subtle signs, inner voice. What you hear in silence is truer than what you chase in noise. I don't want to be sitting here for another hour, so I'm going to put this back. But I do think that I'm going to use these. I think I'm going to just decide to set my fear of sharing that part of my life aside so that I can move forward.